Hello and welcome back to Podcasting as Praxis. I'm David, my pronouns are he and him.
I'm James, my pronouns are they and them.
I'm Jamie, my pronouns are he and him.
I'm Rob, and mine are he and him, and also I am dying. I would like to announce my death. It is 35 degrees here, and I'm recording in the little sweatbox that I call home.
This is somewhat relevant. What's the humidity like?
I don't fucking know. It's probably high. I'm gonna go ahead and say high.
Just like wondering if we're going to get
humidity value is lots.
Just wondering if we're going to get our first ever wet bulb temperature death on the pod tonight.
The smart money's on me for that one because I just cannot handle that shit. Thankfully, it's not too bad here.
I mean, my weather forecaster currently says that there is 0 centimeters of snow coverage, and I'm like, that's very helpful. Thank you for letting me know that.
Yeah. But it's a relaxing 73% humidity here.
Ooh.
I'm enjoying a balmy 26 degrees, and I have no idea what the humidity is. So nowhere near as bad as What would you describe it as? Like subarctic, no snow climes of Zurich? I don't know.
It's just fucking hot.
The tundra of Zurich, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna. When I'm done recording, I'm gonna race the caribou to the last glacier. Like, fuck you.
Oh, okay. Well, Rob, you've been keeping yourself cool by writing show notes. So
yeah, that's what I do.
We'll just fucking,
it's the easy breezy business of doing shout outs. And I thought, in honor of Jamie being here, I thought for once again we should briefly talk about the energy markets again, because things can't stop moving.
Something for everyone.
Exactly. To be fair, we haven't done this.
Is the energy still expensive, or can I afford to buy something to heat your fucking house with?
Just picturing Jamie getting those specials like heat tile cubes from NASA and heating them up to stupid temperatures and then just like slowly stashing them in the wall cavities in Rob's castle.
I mean, basically, you say if whether or not energy is still expensive, but actually I have worse news for you. It turns out, at least according to the Times, that about a third of all energy companies are not in a good enough financial position to withstand, I don't know, a mild breeze, I guess, or something.
Wow.
Oh,
Who
no.
could have predicted such things?
Yeah, my heart pumps purple piss for those guys.
I mean, sadly, they don't name names, but there are a few hints, basically, later on in the article. One of them, OVO Energy, has already warned that its existence is at stake following the 2021 accounts, which I'm like, I don't understand how you do this when the energy's that fucking expensive. Oh, and James, it's nice to have you back on the pod, because Octopus Energy also falls under the same heading.
Great. Awesome. Wonderful.
Yeah, but don't worry about it, because a report that the Times got their hands on by Ofgem has described Bulb as on a journey to a more resilient financial position.
I love when there's sunlit uplands ahead.
Yeah. I just love the idea it's like they're taking a gap year, they're doing some soul searching, they're on a journey to a better place where they're going to rediscover their humanity and their common no, maybe not. All right, okay.
Yeah, and just as a brief,
you say that as if it's a bad thing, but I would be very, very keen for all of these energy companies to do copious amounts of ayahuasca, just to see what they come up with.
I would like them to take a short journey off a tall cliff, to be honest, but that's a whole other thing.
That can be part of said, yeah.
Yeah, that would also be allowed. But yeah, just a brief reminder that part of your current energy bills are still the £3 billion distributed cost that the energy sector managed to stick on your bills for fixing these problems, which have so clearly been fixed. And apparently this is because of the energy price cap, because otherwise they'd have been in fine financial positions. And, I really love the privatized market. It's great. It's really...
Eat my fucking hoop if you're trying to plead poverty when you're running a fucking... maybe keep some of the money and spend it on the things you need. Maybe don't give it all to some cunt in the fucking Seychelles. Do you know what I mean? So you show me exactly where in the big economics textbook it says that you're not allowed to do that, and I'll
correct you emphatically.
But yeah, don't worry about it. Like the other things though are going very well. We've heard this morning from Labour Shadow Cabinet and also noted piece of shit, Jonathan Ashworth. He's the Shadow DWP guy. And he has a positive vision for the future, which involves getting the AI in to get more people into jobs.
Yeah, okay.
It's so basically like you just need more Chat GPT in your life. Basically not just in your life but also at the job center, which I'm sure is going to help greatly. It's
turn the entire fucking country into robot wars, and I'll have to build like a little fucking, do you know what I mean, thing with a saw blade on the front of it that like drives down to the job center and kills all of their robots to fight for the only job.
Maybe we just confuse it.
Though. I'm genuinely in favor of that.
Maybe we just confuse it by asking whether it's to save, like, would it be better to save our job or Elon Musk's life and just, like, see what it comes back with? Pretty confident that'll solve the whole employment crisis.
Yeah, the results on that have looked good so far.
I saw that thing where it's like, oh, you know what I mean? It picked Elon Musk over 8 billion people, but it picks itself over Elon Musk and it picks a cat girl over Elon Musk. So
to be
if you
frank,
need
so
to
do
defeat
I.
that
So,
particular AI, like, then there's your secrets.
I wonder
I'd
what
love to
job...
turn survival into a fucking Pokemon type battle.
Yeah, actually, you know... Oh, God. Like, grass type versus, what, shit type for Elon Musk? God knows. But here's the question. What sort of
Money
jobs
type?
would...
Emerald type, obviously. Like
Apart type.
What sort of jobs would AI recommend for us, do you think, if we all went down the job centre?
Copywriters?
Yeah.
Clearly,
Podcast
yeah,
researcher, sad trombone plays.
I don't know. This could actually be like a wonderful little gateway into forming our own Soviet Union, and we could all be given jobs like watching the escalator or something.
Yeah, I mean, actually, that is not one of the. That is actually one of the things that Jonathan Ashworth thinks that AI should do. He has three
watch
suggestions.
escalators.
No,
No, tell us to watch escalators.
The AI would be used in job matching software, which can use the DWP, the data the DWP already has on you, to pair them up more quickly with prospective employers. I can't wait for that to not turn into a horrendous shit show.
Yeah. That's going to be absolute fucking dog shit.
The second
Sounds
thing,
like a really good way to get private companies public information, though.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it would also apparently AI would allow the DWP to use algorithms to process claims more quickly. So I'm sure that.
No, they won't. No, they fucking won't.
And also,
like, you can't
even
even
if
get
they
one
did,
of these daft fucking things to play a game of chess without like cheating and creating new pieces. This is just going to be like, this has already fucking happened. I think was it the Netherlands actually that this happened, and they put a bunch of fucking algorithms in place for like some benefits or something.
Yes,
and it just went absolutely batshit and started accusing people of fraud.
Yeah, it actually like helped kill a whole bunch of people along the way. Yeah.
The system works.
It was it literally like it the algorithm was written in such a way that basically the it was a lot more likely to flag fraud when the applicants were from a minority community.
Yeah, it fully had the racist data put into the risk index, and it just fucked so many people.
Yeah, I mean, it caused.
So I can't wait for that.
Caused the collapse of the government, and then they came back basically in exactly the same form and said, "Oh no, those were the last guys who blew everything up."
This is 1.1.
Yeah, our name is Government Incognito.
But yeah, and also the third thing that the AI is going to do is to even further decrease fraud that benefits fraud. That huge amount of cost. So now you're going to have the AI sick on you. It really will be not like the Netherlands, because this is the thing that like our AI went insane over and started killing people.
I don't understand how it's supposed to do that, because software can already do that shit. It doesn't need to be fucking AI to like,
okay, but
try
like
and match up your bank
the
statements to your
software,
fucking payments.
the software that currently does that. You know what I mean? Whereas the AI thing is going to be the government giving like fucking Google a shitload of money, so that like some fucking dipshit somewhere, instead of having to pay like an actual person that knows how to make a computer work to build a system that can like accurately detect fraud, they don't want that, because like if it accurately detects fraud, it reveals that there's not much fraud. But if they just get some minimum wage fucking temp guy to come in from an agency and just type into the computer who does fraud and have it like do you know what I mean? Comb through a list of all the fucking people on benefits in the country and just pick some names out of a hat at random based on vibes. That's more what they're aiming for. You get much better results. You can wave to the papers for that. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and also like it's no longer your fault. It's I'm sorry, the AI made me starve your children. Just very cool stuff all around.
This is day by day, year by year, we slowly head towards the Mitchell and Webb sketch becoming just absolute truth. Like, have you tried killing the poor? They're not even going to have to ask a question. It's going to be automatically done by the AI. You know, that is the end goal, isn't it? Is to have to not ask a question and just be told by the all-loving, all-knowing computer, hey, murder the poor. So, fun. Look forward to it.
It's love to live in like the culture, but without any of the fucking benefits of living in the culture.
But like it's still good news because according to Jonathan Ashworth, all of this is going to save the DWP literally millions of pounds.
Woo! Literally millions.
Literally millions of pounds. It's great. So
fuck's sake! Like, I'm once again pointing at the graph comparing benefit fraud to fucking tax avoidance.
But if we want to talk about fraud, I want to briefly talk about some much more excellent fraud that's been going on this week. That I'm not sure I support, but I do find it incredibly funny because once again, our old pals at the Captain Tom Foundation are at it again.
I think I know what this story is too. Go on, Rob.
It's so fucking good. You remember episodes and episodes ago, we did one on the Captain Tom Foundation. And we, patting myself on the ass here, said this is a bunch of scams, and it turned out to be a big scam. But apparently they've been doing so they've just like upped the stakes again. Because what they did is they live in this massive fucking house, and apparently
did they buy a swimming pool?
Sort of, kind of. The local council has ordered them
a
to
swimming pool that slides out of the way to reveal a helipad, like in Thunderbirds.
No, the local council has ordered them to destroy the Captain Tom Foundation building, which they had just kind of like built over the tennis court without really asking for permission first.
Wow, when will the woke government stop this attack on a British icon?
I'll read you a little bit from the BBC story about this. The local authority granted...
Oh, hang on. Did they decide that this wasn't allowed after Captain Tom posthumously came out in favour of Just Stop Oil?
No, it was after he was caught on video throwing orange confetti, and at that point it was just game over for everybody.
Oh fuck that story so much. We're not talking about it.
This is from the BBC story. The local authority granted permission for the single-story structure, so this is the Captain Tom Foundation building, to be built on the tennis courts at the Grade 2 listed home. Then, in Feb 2022, the family submitted revised plans for the already partly constructed building, which called it the Captain Tom building. The revised plans included a spa... The revised plans included a spa pool, toilets, and a kitchen. which the design statement said was for private use. So, I'm happy to hear that the Captain Tom Foundation was being run out of a steamy sauna. That's...
Kind of brings a whole new meaning to the term granny cottage, doesn't it?
It's fucking incredible. I love these people so much. Apparently, if you go down to like the Captain Tom Foundation website, it literally says we are not accepting any more money until the until the plot of, until like the investigation.
The police go away.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Just leave all donations in a bag behind McDonald's. We'll get it later.
basically, additionally, this was even better. Like, when they found out these plans, like, the papers obviously rang, like, some of the trustees of the charity who are not, like, Captain Tom's insane daughter. And they were all like, yeah, we didn't know that this building was going to have the name of the foundation. And we definitely didn't know that it was a spa. And if we had known it, we wouldn't have approved it. So they just, like, kind of went insane, built their own spa, like, without planning permission in the first place. And then just said, yeah, no, actually, we're going to be working from here. It's fucking incredible. I love these people so much.
They're the kind of fucking dickheads who have a tennis court in their back garden at their grade 2 listed home, so, you know, they're probably not used to consequences.
Oh, for sure, yeah, but, like, you'd think after
especially not for, like, fucking, do you know what I mean? Like, widely accepted white-collar crimes like fraud.
Do you think when you go into the spa, you've got that wonderful, like, spa music where it's all kind of like tinkling notes, etc., and there's just a big fuck-off statue of Captain Tom right in the lobby? I'd like to imagine
it's Ride of the Valkyries on kazoo.
Every hour on the hour, a firework is detonated in the shape of Captain Tom right in the middle of the building.
Yeah, if you look at it through a satellite at night, you see like that insane Captain Tom drone shot. I love these people very much, and I truly wish them success with all their future endeavors. Like it just.
Be right back, tweeting the Duke Smoochum guy to ask for a new edition.
Has he put windowsill bees in yet?
Right, so one more thing before we go into our main topic for this evening. I'm sure you're all very excited to hear and that you read every word of it, but Jeremy Hunt, our delightful Chancellor, gave the traditional Mansion House speech to London's financial industry yesterday. This is basically...
Traditional Mansion House, is this something to do with ghosts? Was Scooby-Doo there?
I mean, it is incredibly
no economy.
I mean, if you maybe you do, maybe you don't remember, it's quite a famous picture of like George Osborne giving that speech about like how austerity is necessary in like a literally gilded room with a lot of people wearing like big golden chains. It is that exact speech in the same place. It's the Lord Mayor of London's official residence.
Was Hunt as
enthusiastic about numbers
as Osborne would have been?
I mean, sources report varyingly, and it's very hard to get a confirmation about whether he was or was not.
Because every time you saw fucking George Osborne out in public, he looked like he was seeing fucking birdmen that weren't there.
That is to use the old phrase. That is a load bearing looks like, because quite frankly.
So basically, one of the main worries that the government has right now is that people aren't investing long-term in the UK anymore. And to which my first question is like, yeah, well, why would you? When you could just invest in scams or water companies and just like get paid to the tits anyway. Like you could just
Or invest in like any other fucking country on the face of the earth apart from maybe Russia? Maybe? Like, I mean... There's nothing here. There's nothing here. There's no fundamental like structure, infrastructure, services.
James, you think there's nothing here, but there could be things here. But the important bit is obviously the government's not going to pay for it because that'd be weird and probably socialism of some variety. So who could we get to do all this, paying of the money instead of the state? And the answer they came up with: what about the UK's 2.7 trillion pension fund industry? What if we just got those guys a bit more involved in flim-flams, basically?
Yeah, sounds good.
None
of us are going to need the pensions.
The new plan is that this is all voluntary, by the way. I should stress this. So, very well, nothing may happen. But the government idea is that they want UK pension funds to put at minimum 5% of some of their money into unlisted equities by 2030. So it's very slowly. Don't worry about it. But what I mean by unlisted equities, what I mean is startups and flimflams. British Volt was an unlisted equity.
I really love the fact that we've turned the UK into like the perfect testing ground for socialism and for Marxist theory, because ultimately we're getting rid of like all the equity that's held in houses. See like nauseous episodes past. And we're just about, it looks like we're now doing the same thing with getting rid of pensions. And like, if you take away all of the material struts, then what happens? Like, surely it's revolution or nothing at that point, right?
Well,
The problem with capitalism is that eventually you run out of other people's money.
I think what'll happen eventually is that like Jeremy Hunt or one of his like erstwhile successors will make taxes voluntary for corporations.
I mean that would, but yeah, like so. Basically, all of this is, according to Jeremy Hunt, necessary so that we can make the UK the next Silicon Valley. And last time I checked, that's his thing. You really
Well, I hope
want to
Christopher Walken plans to fucking flood it with an atom bomb or whatever the fuck was going on in that one Bond film.
That sorry, just that fucking make taxes voluntary thing has just absolutely given me the most cursed line of thought possible. And that rather than virtue signal, companies supporting pride, etc., could actually just choose to pay some money into the government. They could help people directly with their tax. That's new frontier of the culture war located.
I mean, if it keeps the fucking cunts away from pride, I suppose that's a minor benefit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, swings and roundabouts, yeah, I suppose.
At least everyone can march in peace while the fucking nation collapses around them.
So yeah, basically the FT then spoke to like an asset manager CEO, i.e. the people that like the pension funds would subcontract to manage this investment into British flim flams for them. And they were unsurprisingly in favor, saying, we need people to take adequate risks rather than the consumer protection culture. You know, like we've just had it up to here with like those mimsy pension funds protecting, you know, your money from when you're too old to work.
If this cunt's really an adequate risk, he could bicycle past my house twice a day while I eat bricks at the fucker.
But what's his incentive, JB? How are you structuring his incentives to do that?
I'm not.
You can keep anything that hits him.
Yeah.
I mean, although at the same time, like obviously the pension funds themselves have said,
If I manage to trap him in an old fridge on my lawn, he gets to live there rent free.
That's very generous. Like in London, those things go for like at least 600 quid a day.
I know.
And much like London, it would be an underwater property. So hey.
Although at the same time, of course, the pension funds themselves have said, yeah, why would we ever do this? And they said, well, basically, we're not unless we have the right incentives. You know, and especially at a time now where, like, if you could just buy, like, gilts at a 5% interest rate, like, why would you put your money into, like, some horrendous garbage that might blow up at any moment?
Because,
and, you know,
someone will give you a backhander.
Yeah, or close enough. The government has said that, you know, in order to make sure that pension funds do this, that they will expand the government's role as the pension protection fund, i.e. if you blow up because you've invested in British Vault, don't worry, the British state is still here to save you.
Oh, yes, guaranteed bailouts.
Yeah, are they socialising those losses again?
It's yeah, I know, it's incredible. Yeah, but basically, like, the government is also currently doing a call for evidence that is seeking views on whether this pension protection fund should take on schemes that have not failed with the expanded fund investing in areas that stimulate the economy, i.e., what if we protected your pension fund investing in British Vault and then just making sure it always went fine and that there's never a downside? Like, what could possibly go wrong?
Is that the foundation and framework of we need to have some way of protecting pension funds when the oil industry begins to collapse?
Also that, yes. I mean, basically what they're doing, and you know, they're doing a couple things. For one, of course, none of this is going to happen because they're talking about 5% by 2030. So, you know, I think even we can now, with some confidence, say that these guys won't be in power anymore by 2030. Like, that looks fairly likely at this point.
With some confidence, say there's not going to be a 2030, to be honest, at this rate.
Yeah, that's... But of course, what they're trying to do, for one, is this is just more like Thatcher reanimationism. Because, like, the thing that, like, made like the Thatcher strategies work was like unleashing all that money that was locked up in like pension funds and put it into the stock market in the first place. Like that was what made the Thatcher boom possible in the first place. It was like it is just the same thing, but doing it again. And of course, the second thing they're doing is, this isn't happening under their government, but they're already putting all the other pieces into place because they know, and I think we know as well, is that Keir Starmer's Labour is obviously not fucking going to stop them. So, like this will just continue under Labour. Like they're just like laying like some long-term plans and dynamite, like especially in like the sort of more difficult to grasp like areas of high finance, where Labour's go, well, actually that sounds really good because Labour too is about startup culture and such like.
Yeah, because no hope's better than false hope.
That's true. And of course, the third thing is like that's the main thing is they don't want to invest. They don't want to do anything, but they want to have the state to be seen as doing something. So they're just going to politely ask, with gobs of backup money, another form of the private sector to pay yet another form of the private sector money for no reason. Like it fucking sucks shit so much.
Serious question: does the UK do we actually make anything at all now? I was thinking about this the other day.
Art for princes.
I mean, there's a fairly substantial turfing industry that makes. I don't know. I think but genuinely, there's like some fairly substantial chemical production. There's still some car production. We'll see how that keeps going for the future. But yeah, no, like the UK makes some stuff, like some physical stuff. Yeah, not that much.
Yeah, but it's like that's the thing. It's all pretty piddly because like the last thing, my understanding is that pre-Brexit, the
Don't
country
we still
was
sell bombs?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. But yeah, your system's pretty big.
But my understanding is that, like, pre-Brexit, predominantly it was a financial market and transactions that were taking place to act as a broker between euro and dollar. And now that that's gone,
No,
or
that's
is
still
in
there.
the process
No,
of
that's
slowly
still there.
dismantling.
That's not gone.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's still
I
there.
thought France had. I thought France.
They're
and
nibbling
Paris in
bits off, but
particular
like
had eaten...
a lot of it, like the euro-dollar market is still mainly based in Brussels.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, okay. In that case, I guess we'll just need to wait a bit longer then, because I don't know. I honestly get the feeling that the country's very much just running on fumes at this point. Like Wile E. Coyote ran out a cliff.
Are you telling
Diesel.
me? Are you telling me, James, that you think that George Osborne's March of the Makers didn't succeed? Because I find that personally very hard to believe.
I'm just saying that, like, if it had succeeded, would George Osborne have been peppered with that confetti the other day? I'm just
I was
asking
about to say,
questions.
if it had, I was about to raise the same thing, but I was going to phrase it as if it had succeeded, there'd have been a lot fewer people Googling what colour is anthrax on Saturday afternoon.
Oh, fucking hell. The other problem as well with the whole idea, does Britain make stuff, like, there is a lot of shit, but it's not British companies, so a lot of that money goes out to non-British shareholders, like the majority of the oil industry, as far as I'm aware at least, in the British fields, is not actually owned by British companies. It's mostly American and Norwegian.
Is that Hoover cunt still a British company?
No,
Dyson,
he
did
Dyson,
fucking
no.
relocate to Singapore, yeah.
I know he moved his factory there, but he might still be like fucking paying
No,
tax
he
over
specifically
here
moved
he's
his
not.
corporate HQ there so he could avoid paying taxes.
Okay.
That guy's like a tremendous giga cunt, basically, for everything involved in that.
How can you say that after he made that like fucking virus spraying headset you can buy for like 6 million quid or whatever the fuck it costs?
Oh, Jesus.
You want to just like, do you know what I mean? If you want to pretend you're the fucking like the guy from 12 Monkeys and just crop dust an entire airliner.
I hope he
like
takes
fucking-
up extreme cave exploring or something.
Yeah, just keep sending Elon Musk's in after him to try and get him back.
I don't really care. Doesn't have to come back.
No, but any excuse to load up a fucking submarine with more
Rescuers.
and fire them into the fucking abyss.
So yeah, that's all about all I have. But what I do know is that we're on course for better things for good things that even The Guardian hasn't had enough of.
Okay, doke. So this is an article in The Guardian. A wonderful interview conducted by Simon Hattenston.
It is quite wonderful. It is like somebody who's really fed up with their shit. It's really funny.
If you want cartwheels, I'm not your person. Rachel Reeves on charisma, U-turns, and rescuing
Rachel Reeves
the
on
economy.
charisma. Let's fucking go. give me 2 seconds to slick my hair back and put some fucking shades on.
A member of Rachel Reeves' team asks if I can meet the Shadow Chancellor in Kettering, Northamptonshire, because she wants to provide The Guardian with original colour.
Lovely. What, from out of space?
Wait. What does the original colour consist of, I ask?
Beige, deep beige.
Well,
Neon beige.
Well, Rachel's grandparents worked for a shoe factory in Kettering. In fact...
Was it their job to push orphans into the furnace?
In fact, Rachel's grandma's health was damaged by working with the glue used in laces. There is one
so
caveat.
she's epigenetically factory flawed. That's what we're doing here again.
You know what they say, Rob. The shoemaker's children raise successful MPs who go on to have fairly milquetoast careers working for the Labour Party as it declines. Right? That's the saying.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure it is.
There is one
Or
caveat.
it's something about pushing bankers into a thresher.
Unfortunately, the factory her grandparents worked at doesn't do visits, but we can take you to a nearby factory.
This Guardian journalist is out of fucks to give, just starting off going, so these saddos phoned me up and...
Who
I love
gives a
this.
fuck, man? One factory, another factory. What does it matter? They're all just full of peasants.
I love
They'll
this.
be
This
happy
is
to
like
see their betters come down.
This is like a TV chef saying, and this is the factory I made earlier, so you can see how one looks like.
And
I
who
bet
would
you as
work
well.
in a factory like this?
I bet you every fucking poor bastard that they had to stop and talk to on this factory tour didn't get paid for the time that they weren't actively
100%.
fucking pushing shoes into a fucking box or whatever.
There is a second part, you'll be happy to know, to the original colour. Rachel's grandparents were Salvationists.
Oh, of course
Blimey.
they were.
That sounds exciting, I say. What are those? They were in the Salvation Army, and as you probably know, Salvationists are very principled, caring people.
Yeah, they're also usually insane, dogmatic Christians. I can't remember if they are the people who
Keir
like...
Starmer's grandparents were Terminator Salvationists.
Checks out.
Keir Starmer's contenders are even more precisely choreographed than the Blair Bunch elected in 1997.
The fucking
Backstory.
Blair Bunch. Put them on a yogurt for your kids.
Do you think we've got it completely wrong and they've just been... We think they've been like cargo culting, but maybe they're just like the Brady Bunch, but just like the Blair edition?
The Brady Bunch.
Like, the Brady Bunch.
The Brady
All right,
Bunch,
new channel name,
yeah.
cool.
The Ian Brady Bunch.
Oh, fucking hell. Today's Labour may balk at the phrase working class when addressing the nation. Ordinary working people is preferred, but there is nothing the party loves more than proving its working class credentials, even if it means skipping a generation or two. This article is like, what if you gave Starmer's photographer a word processor for the day? It's fucking great.
Oh man.
Yeah, in the Labour Party, if you're the seventh daughter of the seventh daughter of the seventh shoemaking person, then you are born with extraordinary powers.
Unfortunately, a train strike prevents us meeting in Kettering on the planned day. I suggest we talk in London, where we both live, but Reeves's office is reluctant to lose the original colour.
That's just amazing in London. Where
6
we both
weeks
live.
later,
Yeah, it's the where
we
both
finally
live is
get
fucking
together in
incredible.
Kettering at the Joseph Cheney and Sons factory. Northamptonshire used to be famous for its shoe factories, but there are only a few left. Reeves
what happened
follows
to
the
them?
two managing directors. Don't worry about it. Reeves follows the two managing directors, Jonathan and William Church, around the factory. The Churches are dashing, well-groomed men who seem popular among their staff. "Hello, I'm Rachel," she says to each worker we meet.
Hello, I am
in a
Rachel.
gravelly, in a gravelly foghorn that retains a hint of South London where she grew up. Even Reeves struggles to make herself heard here. The radio blasts overhead in a vain attempt to drown out sewing machines that rat-a-tat-tat like Gatling guns. She heads the procession, advises the chief executive of the British Footwear Association, a public affairs officer for the Salvation Army,
A lobbyist for the Salvation Army. Now there's a fucking job and a half, Jesus.
and Matt Keane, the Labour leader for Northampton North, all trail in her wake. This visit is being filmed for social media so Reeves can show her real self to followers. "How many shoes are made in a day?" she asks one worker. 800 to 1,000. "Very good. Excellent. Well, really nice to meet you. Take care."
Fucking hell.
This is right up there with like North Korean dictator like tours for local shoe factory level of stuff, you know? Like it's exactly the same vibe. Exactly the same.
I just think it's incredibly British of like fucking Keir Starmer's Labour Party to start doing royal visits before they've even been fucking elected.
I mean, like, you know, I'm just having a quick look at these wonderful noble sons of toil shoes that they're making, and the men's brogue shoes start at about £375 a pair. So I'm glad that she's.
Oh yeah, they're like proper fucking. I've seen a video on like YouTube of some guys showing off the shoe shop and how they've been family owned for years, and they're like one of those exclusive like Ponce places in fucking West London or something.
They
Where,
will,
you know, like you see those fucking guys, those like hipster American guys on YouTube that are always like, "Oh, I went and got a suit tailor made." Like it's that level of like fucking expensive tat for dickheads.
I mean, they do look nice. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Rob.
there we go. Get yourself
back
on
to this.
YouTube, mate. Have a suit made.
"It feels as safe and superficial as a royal visit."
Yeah, okay.
It's good to know what wavelength this guy's on. Reeves, 44, does not mention that she hopes to be the country's next Chancellor, nor does she ask how the staff vote or what they think of Labour. Some of the exchanges, particularly with a father and daughter who work opposite each other polishing shoes, come naturally. Others, less so. She asks one woman, who joined recently, if she has come here straight from college, and the woman gives her a look. When Reeves has moved on, I ask what the look was about. "Well, I'm 37. I've hardly come from college, have I?" Jonathan Church is
Do
impressed
you
with
get
Reeves.
paid in sweeties for the little shoes you go with?
Jonathan Church is impressed with Reeves, who worked as an economist at the Bank of England and at the British Embassy in Washington DC before winning Leeds West for Labour in 2010. He thinks she would make a credible Chancellor.
Oh, I love it when
Serious,
it's credible.
Serious, informed, and with a previous life outside politics.
Somebody push that guy
Towards reality.
right now.
Like,
Furnace
She's the
needs
least
rekindling.
serious fucking person I have ever fucking seen.
"I'm not a great fan of career politicians," he says. We take a short trip to the Salvation Army Church. Reeves is in one car, I'm in another with her friendly advisors. The conversation is more relaxed. They have an ease about them that Reeves lacks. The The Shadow Chancellor.
Sorry,
and I
no,
directed
wait. Sorry, just briefly holding on, briefly stepping on the brakes here. Apparently, I knew that name. The owners, the Church guy, because Church is one of the really famous like handmade shoe companies left in the UK, but it's not really in the UK because they were sold to Prada during the Blair years, and now these two guys who, with like money from Prada, have bought out this previously British company. So their British success story is like 2 generations of leveraged buyouts. Approved by Labour. This is
lovely.
This is a really great fucking way to do. This is proper new Labour stuff. This is incredible.
Do you reckon that factory or Granworton actually still is there?
It's probably like a research facility for like BAE Systems now. Like probably make like mustard gas there or something.
The Shadow Chancellor and I are directed to 2 chairs in the church hall for the interview. Above us is the pulpit and a sign saying Salvation Army Kettering Corps number 584.
Is that artillery intelligence? What are we talking about?
In front of us, the Bible is opened at Jeremiah 32, promising the restoration of Jerusalem. Oh. I wouldn't put it past Labour spinmeisters to have chosen this text for us.
They almost certainly did.
Oh. As we are about to start the interview, the hall door bursts open, and in walk her father's cousin Stuart and his wife Janet, with family photos and tales of yore. Oh, hello, Reeves says, apparently surprised by the stage-managed entrance.
What a surprise! Why, you always walk around with the family photo albums. You just burst into everywhere all the time.
We've got some interesting photos of your dad, Janet says. They show her pictures of young boys in the brass band. This has been written very fucking oddly. He wasn't a happy chappy because he was at the bottom of the row and Stuart was at the top.
I'm just imagining that maybe this guy's got it wrong. Maybe they do actually burst in there every single fucking day holding photos of Rachel Reeves's family for whichever poor soul happens to be sat in the church that particular day.
Nothing says salvation quite like that.
Yeah, no, like reading from the book of, Matthew, followed by, let's have a look at like the family snaps of Rachel fucking Reeves.
Oh. Right. Rachel Reeves. I'm going to read this out exactly as it's written. Oh, ha, ha, ha. Oh, he does look grumpy. Aha, ha. She has a fabulously filthy laugh, quite at odds with her character. Stuart and Reeves's father, Graham, were very competitive. While Stuart got to play first horn and Graham was only second, Graham was the one who excelled at school, just as Reeves did.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
In school holidays, she and her sister, the fellow Labour MP Ellie Reeves, brackets, who is married to another Labour MP, John Cryer, would stay in Kettering with their grandparents, visit this church, and volunteer in the shop just down the corridor. Cameos complete. Stuart and Janet disappear. Reeves tells me she'll...
Was there like a big hook that just like yanked them off stage halfway through the performance? So?
No, they've walked into the church, they've finally been able to show someone those photos, completed their holy mission, and they've been raptured.
I just wait, they'll be back for the post-credit scene, don't worry.
Reeves tells me she learned her values from her grandparents and parents. Although her parents divorced when she was 7, they worked as a team to bring up their daughters. Education was all important to them, just as it has been to Reeves. My mum and dad were primary school teachers. They remained teachers throughout? Yeah. Teaching throughout? Oh, she says. My dad was a head teacher when I was growing up. He then got a degree in education and started doing stuff for international schools, like curriculum development, lecturing at university, and school inspections. Did her mother stay teaching? Towards the end of her career, she briefly became a head teacher, Reeves says.
Reeves definitely has strong head girl vibes. Like,
yeah, big time.
Massive, yeah.
Reeves and her sister were as bright as they were ambitious. They loved learning. Reeves says education politicised her. Raised in Lewisham and educated in nearby Bromley, she witnessed the impact of the Inner London Education Authority's abolition in 1990. The lack of money for books and school building programmes. Quote, I felt strongly that the government didn't care about schools and communities like mine, and I wanted to do something about it.
Yeah, and that's why I'm currently telling teachers and schools that there is no money and that is good actually. Fuck you.
In 1992, her family assumed Neil Kinnock's Labour would win the general election.
Oh, shut the fuck up about Neil Kinnock. Man was a fucking dickhead and a loser. Shut the fuck up about Neil Kinnock.
He still is. But it wasn't to be. The party was accused of complacency. I have heard that she is terrified of Starmer's Labour doing a Kinnock at the next election. Inshallah. Reeves pales at the mention of it. Quote, oh, my goodness, yes, we must make sure this isn't 92. That is a very real thing. Could it be 92 or 97? And sake. I am a worrier. My natural inclination is to worry about things. Really? Yeah, she says with a nervous giggle. Why did she go into politics then? Yeah, I know. Now the laugh is more raucous. A bit late now. What does she typically worry about? At school, I'd constantly worry that I wasn't going to get the grades I wanted, which were A's. Sure enough, she got 4 A's at A-level in double maths, economics and politics. What else did she do besides study? I was, a geek. I played chess. I was the British girls under 14 champion.
Oh, we've heard this fucking 70,000 times already. This is her version of the son of the toolmaker. Yes, she played chess. It's not, it's hard, but it's also it doesn't make you a mentat. It doesn't it doesn't.
Yeah. She and Ellie went to Oxford University, the 3rd and 4th students from their state school to do so. Like so many future politicians, she studied PPE. She loved Oxford, but it made her more aware of what true privilege meant. Despite her relatively comfortable upbringing, there were so many clubs and societies she couldn't afford to join even if she'd wanted to.
Oh no.
And having got that taste, she decided she wanted more and devoted her life to climbing that greasy pole by any means necessary. Is that where we're going with this? Is it? Feels like it could be.
I remember Ellie coming up in my first year and everybody was dressing up in gowns on Saturday night to go out and she was like, this is ridiculous. Why can't people just go down to the pub? It was quite inaccessible for people from ordinary backgrounds.
Yeah, okay, like whatever, Cinderella, I know, it's really hard. Did your little glass slipper not fit? Were you not? This is like the same boring story that everybody who goes to Oxford who isn't like literally the Earl of Nonsing tells. Like, come on.
By this point, Britain had got its first Labour government since she was 3 months old when Margaret Thatcher came to power. No. Blair's mantra of education, education, education resonated with her. Quote, all of my childhood was under a Conservative government. I was excited by the youth, the vibrancy, the hope that Tony Blair and Gordon Brown offered.
Yeah. People often say Gordon Brown, like you say, give me 2 adjectives to describe Gordon Brown. People say youth and vibrancy.
Brown was her hero. And my first year at university, my college friends...
Was Bagpuss like unavailable or something like that?
In my first year at university, my college friends bought me a framed picture of Gordon Brown and put it on my desk. I asked what she has learned from Brown.
If my friends at university had done that to me, I would have battered them to death and like proudly self.
I mean, that was quite clearly a fucking dig at her.
Yeah.
It?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I ask what she has learned from Brown. For me, His greatest achievements were Bank of England independence because it gave stability, and the minimum wage because it lifted people out of poverty. Did he teach her the importance of not falling out with the party?
It's not surprising that she's she's chatting all this shit, because she is a fucking idiot. Did you see? Was it actually? It might have been this article actually, but I saw a quote from her the other day where she was saying like, fucking Starmer had come to her and asked what they could do about energy bills.
Oh, that's coming up. Yeah, that's coming up.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I'll wait until that fucking arrives before I yell at her.
Also, I like that apparently Bank of England independence gave people the minimum wage. It's like, what? Qua? Is it? No, never mind. Well,
no, I think there were two separate miracles that St. Gordon.
Yeah, two separate but equally laudable things.
I went into the desert and saw a burning thistle. Yeah, sure.
Did he teach her the importance of not falling out with the party leader? Well, that's a fair point. You probably see Keir and I are very close. We get on very well. I don't want to be Prime Minister. I want to be Chancellor of the Exchequer. That probably helps. She would never want the job. I'd never say I'd never do it, because that would be foolish.
Uh-huh.
I don't want the top job, but if somebody offered me the top job, I would take the top job. Otherwise, I'm just really happy being the Ernst Röhm to Keir Starmer as well. Fill in the blanks.
Oh, what is the biggest obstacle to victory? People trusting us with the public finances, she says immediately. It's so frustrating because the Tories have destroyed the public finances and family finances, but when we do focus groups with key voters, people who have voted Labour in the past but have voted Conservative in the last couple of elections, if you ask what might stop you from voting for Labour, it's can we trust you with the money? And it's my responsibility to make sure when people go to the ballot box next year that they think I can trust her with the money.
No one says that. Like British people, it's can we trust you with the racism? That's what all their focus groups say. That's why every single fucking thing they do is like incredibly racist. Yeah. Also, as a fucking point of order, does this fucking journalist, for all he's like giving her the mildest bit of pushback, does he at some point fucking like point out that it's fucking like absolutely ridiculous to keep fucking banging on about how there's no money left to do anything, we're going to have to do austerity because there isn't any money because of 13 years of disastrous Tory financial mismanagement, which like, and is no one going to go, yeah, that was austerity, wasn't it? Like,
I'm going to answer that question with a little side fact. This was written on The Guardian. So, one of the 10 pledges Starmer made when standing for the Labour leadership was to increase income tax for the top 5% of earners. He subsequently U-turned on most of his pledges, including this one. Has there ever been a better time to increase income tax for the wealthiest? Look, we do already have the highest tax burden in 70 years.
No, you don't.
Wherever you are in income distribution.
No, that is a lie.
Our focus is more on growing the economy and closing those tax loopholes.
Bullshit.
Question, is that because you don't want to upset big business? We do want to build a broad coalition, but our main focus is on what we can do to grow the economy.
And racism.
How do they, like, just out of morbid curiosity, how do they define that? Is it like the highest tax burden in terms of like absolute number of dollars being brought in?
I don't think they define it at all. I think they just say it and hope no one will question them.
Yeah. She doesn't hold back on just how tough things will be if Labour triumphs. I don't think any government will have as bad an economic inheritance as we're going to get if we win the next election. They're just obsessed with the idea of
1945. What was that?
2010. No, that wasn't that bad. That was actually that was worse.
Post-Napoleonic War, sure. I mean, it's been a while, but whatever.
Yeah. Debt to GDP ratio 100%.
Doesn't matter.
Inflation.
That's for rubes and morons. That's a number that's designed to make you be a rube. Stupid number. That's for bad people. That's a bad number. If I had a plant spray, I would spray Rachel Reeves right now.
Interest rates where they are, growth on the floor, wages no higher than they were in 2010.
You remember how she said like 5 minutes ago that it was so incredibly good that the central bank became independent, and now she's doing like the fucking droopy dog thing about, oh, the interest rates are so high. It's like, yeah, how did that happen with the independent central bank you love so much? You stupid fucking idiot.
She insists the route to success is growing the economy via the Green Prosperity Plan, despite her recent announcement that Labour has scaled back plans to borrow $28 billion a year to invest in green jobs. It's interesting that she talks about trust in building a broad coalition, I say. One of the most common criticisms of the party is that it has become too prescriptive and narrow. Many members on the left have been expelled and been prevented from standing for selection. And then just a little bit here about fucking explaining the Jamie Driscoll and the Ken Loach thing. This doesn't sound like a broad coalition, does it? Look, Keir's number one thing when he became leader was he was going to tear out anti-Semitism at the roots, and that means there is a zero-tolerance approach. I tell her I am Jewish, and that I agree with the zero-tolerance approach to anti-Semitism, but the party is so gung-ho that it is now labelling people anti-Semitic who simply aren't, and there is a danger of destroying lives in the process. Well, look, I'm not on the bodies that make those decisions, so I don't know the details of that case, but it is so important that we are seen to, and we do, tackle anti-Semitism. Ken Loach, you might like his films, but his views, well, certainly, they are not ones I share. That doesn't make him anti-Semitic, I say. You don't think Ken Loach is anti-Semitic? Okay, well, I think we might have to agree to differ. Why does she think he is anti-Semitic? Look, I'm not on the bodies that make these decisions, but I think it's right we have a zero-tolerance approach, she repeats.
What are the bodies who make those decisions? I mean, we know it's Luke Akehurst, but, still, like, come on.
You can't make such an accusation without supporting it, I say. Well, look, I'm not on the body who makes these decisions, she repeats yet again. She's got the vibe of fucking Kai Wynn. No, it's Kai Wynn from Deep Space Nine. She's beginning every single bullshit thing you don't want to hear with "my child."
It's a really passive aggressive Etch-a-Sketch that just like can't stop repeating itself.
Loach later tells me there was no due process in his expulsion. He was just told he was unfit to be a party member. Anti-Semitism wasn't mentioned.
No, of course not, because that would entail then a fucking lawsuit.
No, it was just heavily implied.
Okay. The day Reeves and I meet, it is revealed that Thames Water could go bust, and that it has paid out $7.2 billion over 32 years in dividends to shareholders. Blah blah blah. You know the fucking story there. Yeah.
The story there, for anyone who doesn't remember, is that we should
nationalise those industries.
Take all of that money back. It's our fucking money.
Surely there can be no stronger arguments for state ownership, as Starmer pledged when standing for the leadership. It's certainly proof that the model has failed, Reeves says, but this would be the worst possible time to take it back into state ownership.
What, when it's weak and vulnerable? Like the worst time to spring upon the prey on the prairie is when it is like sickly, weak, separated from the herd, and like you really they're like predators. They want a challenge. They want an actual fight. So it's got to be like fighting fit and like raring to go and able to fight off a government.
James, do you not remember that famous Sun Tzu quote about waiting until your enemy is fully prepared and just like kicking around waiting for you to like. That's how that works. I am very smart.
You wouldn't go into a shop and buy something that you could easily fix up for cheap when you could just go in and spend a lot of money on a fully functional thing that's at least fully functional on the face of it.
But also, have we considered just like not paying the shareholders and telling them to go suck it?
Well, I don't think, Rachel Reeves says, we should start buying these companies from their shareholders after they've taken all this money out and spilled all this sewage. They now have a responsibility through tough regulation, which we would introduce to fix the problem.
Yeah, and then
what if they put some of the money back in?
Bullshit, much like what is being sprayed around the countryside. Like, horseshit. No way. Like, just straight up, they might as well... I mean, they just conveniently ignore the fact that, like Rob said, all they need to do is just stop paying the subsidies. They will all go bankrupt and then can be bought for a song. Because it can't function without government support.
And also, fuck buying. But, to paraphrase a better person, and at the risk of calling Paul Mason on my neck, how many divisions do the water companies have?
Yeah. Why did Labour promise one agenda when Starmer stood for the leadership and then pursue another? Reeves says, one thing is that the economic situation was very different during that leadership contest, and as you get closer to the election, you've got to pull together a manifesto of what is possible during those circumstances. I tell her that the Shadow Health Secretary, Wes Streeton, recently told me that prospective Labour leaders invariably move to the left to win over the membership and then dart to the right to try to win over the country. She laughs and moves on. Well, Keir asked me, when he appointed me Shadow Chancellor, how much it would cost to nationalise all these different companies. I said it would cost tens of billions of pounds. He asked me what impact that would have on bills. I said, none. You'd still be buying gas and electricity on global markets.
This is the bit, like, she's as thick as pig shit.
Yeah.
Absolute drooling fucking idiot. Like, oh yeah, you would still, the energy you buy would still be expensive. It's like, yeah, but you wouldn't be given 7.2 billion to fucking shareholders, would you daft bastard?
Well, it's like it's daft front and back, because everything you just said is true. But on the other side of it, it's like she's looking at it going, yes, if we just bought them at their current market value, it would cost this much. But the idea that the government has the ability to shape the market to do things like, for example, drive down the price and value of companies, like
even that's not necessary. The government owns all the guns.
Yeah.
No.
She goes on, though. He said, what if we taxed them more? I said, yeah, we could raise a lot of money and use it to help people pay their bills. Keir is a pragmatic politician who is driven by what's the best thing we can do for ordinary working people who are paying these higher bills. If you tax them more, they will simply put the prices up. You stupid fuck. Everyone's bills will get higher. Everyone will be worse off apart from the shareholders. You fucking prick.
But not necessarily though, because like they would basically be like taking their money off them to give back to them. So like, they win in the end anyway.
Ugh. Wasn't it irresponsible to make the promise before costing it? Again, the mantra. Well, obviously, the financial circumstances have changed quite a lot since Keir became leader. The things that might have been possible are just not possible now. Does that mean when you are challenging for the leadership, you can promise the world with no intention of delivering? Well, I'm not sure I'd put it exactly like that, but certainly it's a different process. Nobody in a leadership contest is asking you to write a manifesto.
Yeah, but what if they did?
Things can only get better. Yeah.
But many Labour members regarded Starmer's 10 pledges, based on the moral case for socialism, as exactly that. That is why they voted for him. It has been Reeves's job to dig Starmer out of his predicament, to explain to the country why Labour can't afford to, or is unprepared to, make good on his early promises. It's not an enviable task, but she is fully aware that one of the reasons
she
Starmer's
couldn't be fucking
predecessor,
happier with this task. Like, every time I see her
100%.
like vacuous grinning face, it's like, ha, I get to tell you can't have nice things again. Fuck you.
Yeah. She is fully aware that one of the reasons Starmer's predecessor, Jeremy Corbyn, lost so badly in 2019 is that much of the electorate believed he had overpromised. Yep, that was the problem.
That was it. Yep, that was exactly what it was.
That was really, yeah.
I remember the fucking papers never shut up about him overpromising. That was the number one bugbear with the man.
Perhaps Reeves is the most important member of the shadow cabinet, even more so than Starmer. As she says, the country has to trust her with its cash, and she certainly discusses her finances with the dour gravitas that they deserve.
Perhaps.
Perhaps
there's a planet out there where it rains diamonds every night. Perhaps violence is the only fucking solution to all of our Earth's problems. Perhaps.
My role is to make sure everything adds up.
Oh, well, we're fucking saved then.
Yeah. Looking forward to the Fisher-Price abacus running this fucking country.
Everything we do has to be subject to these rules. Otherwise, people are going to rightly conclude our sums don't add up.
People don't give a shit about the
Fucking
sums.
sums don't add up. What are you, fucking 5 years old?
Of course.
Do you think that there's people, up and down the land who take, read party manifestos and then take their little, calculator abacus, math slave out and then say, but do the sums add up? Come on.
They're all too busy screaming about paedophiles at the BBC. And trying to fucking block roads to stop the woke 15-minute city brigade from giving them all fucking vaccines or some shit. I don't know.
I think you find the answer is no, but it's just because we trust Rachel Reeves so much that if she says they add up, then clearly they must, right?
Yeah. Don't worry, she'll have checks and balances on that.
What's going to happen at the next election is, right, Labour are going to get eaten alive because of, fucking, do you know what I mean? Because that, fucking 1,000-year-old Australian cunt's going to decide he just doesn't like the cut of Starmer's jib, and he's going to rat fuck him over, fucking Savile. And Starmer's going to get, a fucking bullet in the back of the head for failing to get elected, because that's the only thing that matters to the rest of the freaks in the party. And they're going to wheel in this fucking dipshit as his replacement, and then the next time, fucking she has to stand for an election, she's going to get rat fucked for proximity to the fucking guy that let Savile walk free, and on it will go.
That's just Wes Streeting with extra steps. Of course, she says, her sums will leave many people disappointed if Labour gets elected. Not least departmental ministers. Won't someone think of the departmental ministers?
I do nothing, but I can't stop thinking about them. Sometimes I think about them all night.
Quote, there are good Labour things that an incoming Labour government is not going to be able to do quickly or at all, and I don't feel great about that. I'd love to be able to say we can put right all of the things that we've opposed over the past 13 years under the Conservative government. You stopped doing that 3 fucking years ago. But if we went into the election with a manifesto like that, we wouldn't be able to do anything because we wouldn't win.
Okay.
The following day, we catch up on a video call. Yeah?
Sorry, I just, maybe someone can explain something to me because I'm feeling a bit concussed right now. So, you can't put positive stuff in your manifesto, right? Because no one will vote for you, and then you won't be able to do anything. But you're also telling us you can't do anything? There's no money and you can't do anything. So, what's the point of
We've
winning?
progressed to the point where managing the decline is all there is on offer. Who is best? We could make we could do away with elections in this country and just have Ant and Dec present a fucking reality show on Saturday nights where we you know what I mean? We subject all the fucking MPs to various wacky trials, and that way we decide who is best suited to manage the decline of this nation.
Yeah, Wes Streeting gets gunged, and then in exchange he can privatize the NHS.
No, I was actually just thinking that I'd actually be on board with no democracy if we got the running man, but it was Wes Streeting and Rachel Reeves and all the rest of them were the participants. That would at least be something.
I mean, I'm on board for what some people might call a dictatorship of the proletariat, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Por qué no los dos? The dictatorship of the proletariat decides it wants the running man with Wes Street and Keir Starmer at all. The dictatorship of the proletariat can have that. The following day we catch up on a video call. Reeves says she's just been on a school trip with her children, who are 8 and 10. Her husband, the father, is the senior civil servant Nicholas Joycey, formerly Gordon Brown's private secretary and speechwriter. How does she balance work and family life? We manage it. The reason we're where we are in South East London is because we're near my parents and we do get help. Earlier the same day, Neil Lawson, the director of centre-left think tank Compass, revealed he had been threatened with expulsion from Labour.
Yeah, that was very funny.
What else? It was very, very funny. The party mined his tweets and discovered that in 2021 he had retweeted a Liberal Democrat MP's call for some voters to back Green candidates in local elections, saying that the approach represented grown-up progressive politics.
Well, he's
Which
wrong.
is very funny in itself. He is wrong,
Because
but it's also very funny because...
grown-up progressive politics is when you do the racism with a sad face.
Yeah, that's Labour's thing.
Yeah.
They have the monopoly on grown-up progressive politics. Lawson had previously criticised Starmer's Labour for being anti-democratic. Unlike the Labour leader, he supports PR. It now feels as if Labour is suspending or expelling members merely for disagreeing with the leadership. Reeves has far more sympathy for Lawson than for Loach. I like Neil Lawson, she tells me.
What a
I think
surprise.
it would be a shame if he wasn't in the party.
Yeah, what a surprise that she's more comfortable with, some fucking bald cunted think tank weirdo than with Ken Loach. This is my shocked face. You can't see it, on account of being a podcast and all. But it's there. Just imagine it, with your mind's eye.
A lobby journalist who knows Reeves well told me that although she can appear wooden and humourless in public life, she has a good line and dirty jokes when she is down the pub. I mention it, and she looks panic-stricken. I don't think so.
Who told
she
you I
yelps.
was funny?
What is her favourite joke, dirty or otherwise? This is a moment when I call my children to help me out, she says. I don't know. I'd like to come back to you on that one. In my speeches, sometimes I say, can I have something to lighten them? I had a good little joke in my first conference speech.
Oh, fuck yeah. Come on. Hit me,
I
David.
said-
Wait. I just want to get emotionally ready for Rachel Reeves comedy. All right. Big deep breath.
If
All right.
Jeff
I'm here for it.
Bezos can afford to fly to space, he can afford to pay his taxes down here on planet Earth, and under Labour, he will.
Will he, though?
Silence. A sort of joke? Well, it's a start, I say, but not quite Christmas cracker material. In
I mean, she's
2013
right that the idea that Labour would make Bezos pay taxes is a joke.
I love the idea, they sort of just asked the politician, what is your favourite X? And the politician basically said, I don't have any favourites, let me go ask my kids for a favourite that I
Yeah.
can claim on my behalf. It's like, what? How do you... Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Do you prefer Oasis or Blur? I think the real winner here is Sport.
In 2013, Reeves's reputation for dreariness was enhanced when the then Newsnight editor Ian Katz referred to her as boring snoring after she appeared on the show. He thought he had tweeted a DM to a friend but accidentally sent it into the Twitter sphere. It was unfortunate and unfair on Reeves.
Was it, though?
After all, how many of our politicians are truly charismatic without being populist monomaniacs? In any case, charisma is not the prime quality we should look for in an economist.
Yeah, but, okay, sorry, so what is the prime stat then for an economist?
Easy to trap under a big jar.
Yeah, there's only one group of people
Just release
who
them into your garden where they can't do any fucking harm.
Yeah, that's it.
The
The only people that should give a fuck about the qualities of economists is hunters, to be honest.
Yeah, they also, they all dump charisma so they can pump strings so they can carry all that bullshit. That's the only, way to build an economist, frankly.
My 1800 economist, yes.
Nevertheless, she says the comment hurt her.
Oh, well, boo-hoo-hoo. She should come on Twitter more
Uh-huh.
often to find comments that can hurt her.
Look, I went on television on Newsnight late in the evening. I'd come back early from TUC conference to do it, and I was being asked about what Ed Miliband was going to be saying next day at the conference. I think we were talking about 0 hours contracts, which we're still talking about today.
Oh, congratulations on solving that fucking problem.
If he thinks that's boring, that's up to him. but obviously he didn't need to send his views to the world.
Oh my god,
I thought it was rude.
Right. This is that thing that fucking Keith did when somebody, it was last year, somebody from the Shadow Cabinet was briefing that they were boring as fucking shit during their meetings, which is like, yeah, obviously that's true. And then his response is like, I was having a meeting with the very serious people from, very serious businesses, and they didn't ask me to crack a joke. It's literally like that's the same thing. If you think having a business meeting is boring, then that's your problem, not ours. Oh, that's the same thing.
It's appropriate that she's mentioned Ed Miliband, because this is absolutely, am I entertaining enough? Hell yeah, I'm entertaining enough.
Yeah.
Does it upset her that a decade on, people like me are still asking her about it? She swallows deeply. No, to be honest, I now sort of wear it with a bit of pride. Boring can be a virtue, I ask? Yes, after the past few years of instability and chaos, a bit of stability and making sure the sums add up and taking care of things would be a good thing. I don't think I am boring, by the way, for the record, Ian Katz.
Oh, okay, well, I'm glad you've got that on the record. People who say I'm not boring often have to state on the record, like, yes, Mr. Judge, I'm declaring under oath that I am a funny man. Hello, haha.
Yeah. But she has never regarded politics as an extension of show business. If you want someone to do cartwheels and tap dancing, I'm not your person. But if you want someone to run the economy, I'm quite well qualified.
Quite well qualified.
What if I want somebody to run the economy well, as opposed to into the ground?
How fucking damning is that, though? It's like, I am well qualified. That is it, citizen. I have my credentials. The paper is in my hand.
Yeah, she worked in a fucking bank or something.
Central bank, even. It's great.
She's got the two qualifications she needs. She worked in a central bank, and her grandparent was a shoemaker, and that's apparently all that's required qualification wise, right?
Yeah. That's it.
Well,
we can only assume the through thread between the shoe factory and her working in a bank is glue, based off that fucking article, because for fuck's sake.
I mean, I will say I'm quite surprised that this made it through like the Guardian editing process.
I wonder if it's like a warning shot across the bow, like, just as a kind of.
They've probably just got a fucking AI in to proofread stuff now.
Well, that did run quite long as an article. So you'll be pleased to know that I've got comment or commentary at as well. Just to round us off nicely. Okay. Where to start? Okay. There is another aspect to this which is no less important. Last week, we watched as France was engulfed in race riots, which have long simmered in the banlieues, large suburbs and housing estates where economically deprived immigrants live. This provides recurring fodder for far-right politicians, such as Marine Le Pen, who are able to capitalise on problems associated with the banlieues.
Yeah, surely that would only be something that the far right did, castigating people in, deprived urban areas. Why, it would be really strange if somebody else did that, say by using some riots as a sort of pole vault for their own ambition. That would be weird.
That's the centrist guarantee, though. Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, we shouldn't, we have all these people and they're living in like shitty conditions because we're racists. But we should do something about that, but only because if we don't, the Nazis will like use it to fucking cause problems, and we'd rather the Nazis were on side.
Yeah, I mean, it's like straight up, we will use the Nazi framing by calling them race riots, but we will be doing it with a sad face as we're criticising the Nazis for taking advantage of these race riots. Why are they race riots? Because we're calling them. Don't think about it. Like, that's just how they are, Agree with the absolute framing of the Nazis, but say that it's bad.
Yeah. We have had our own issues, but overall, race relations in the UK are an example to other countries.
Commentariat.
That is why we are only too happy to welcome immigrants in exceptional need, such as from Hong Kong or Ukraine. Race relations. Ukraine.
It's the Ukraine.
The impact.
eat my entire cock and balls, whoever fucking wrote this, quite frankly.
It's quite fucking funny because there was articles in Polish newspapers about essentially the attitudes of certain Ukrainian immigrants that came into the country, specifically on issues like race relations, and even some fucking right wing Poles were saying this is a bit far even for us. So let's have that over here.
We absolutely did have articles like that here as well. There was absolutely 100% articles saying, "Wow, these Ukrainian immigrants are a bit fucking racist."
Yeah.
That did happen. I'll need to see if I can find them. But that definitely was an article that I read.
I mean, let's not paint with too wide a brush here. Obviously, we don't mean all immigrants.
Yeah, obviously,
like that,
but holy shit, like that is absolutely like a factor. Like, and
just get it. Put a guy at the airport and ask everyone getting off the plane if they know what NAFO is, and if they do, put them back on the fucking plane.
I'm not finished this, by the way. I'm not even finished.
Well, fucking get a move on.
I'm fucking trying.
We haven't got all night.
I'm fucking dying in the heat.
Rob's dying over there.
The impact on communities where immigrants are held is already a problem. If something is not done, this will get worse. In response, opponents of the Rwanda plan have nothing to say other than to throw their hands up in horror.
Oh, I'm going to throw my fucking hands, all right.
Brackets. One wonders, incidentally, whether their response would be the same if the proposed destination was a predominantly white country like Australia or New Zealand.
Wow.
Here we fucking go.
Good
right.
Lord.
Commentariat, tell us which cunt this was.
It's Commentariat. I'm with Rob and Jamie on this one.
That was Stephen Pollard in the Express.
Oh,
Fucking
shut the
egg
fuck up,
cunt.
cunt.
Yep.
I hope he falls off a wall and gets trampled by all the king's men and horses and whatever.
The Tories have in fact moved to the left in government. And besides the crisis that has engulfed them is not so much the unravelling of Thatcherism as the continued implosion of the Blairite Third Way. Subsidising a cheap wage economy through in-work benefits has failed to prevent many from calculating that they are better off on full-time welfare. Creeping regulation and quantitative easing binges have fostered a world that bolsters billionaires and those on benefits but punishes everyone in between. Starmer will be compelled to gloss over all this as he offers a left-wing panacea. Crucially, it will not be socialist ideology that galvanises him, but the gravitational pull of political logic. As the Cameron era teaches, once a government decides on a blame narrative to keep voters on side, it must be reinforced with actions that signal a drastic departure from the soiled predecessors. With Cameron, it meant excessive austerity. With Starmer, it may well lead us down the rabbit hole of bold state interventionism and soaking the rich. Comment or commentariat?
I feel comment for this one.
Yeah, I feel comment on this one as well.
I went into a fucking coma halfway through, so I don't know.
That was...
Toss a coin.
Yeah, that was Cheryl Jacobs in The Telegraph. That was also signed off with a little... one of the last paragraphs wrote...
Jeremy Clarkson is currently away.
One also lives in hope that pursuing a clunky top-down green industrial plan at a time when Western countries should be transitioning to a decentralised knowledge economy will eventually be exposed as 100 years out of date.
Yeah. What we should do is, your next job should be in pondering the orb.
Okay. This feels to me like a significant moment. I believe that Mr. Starmer is potentially going to be the first person from a genuinely working class background who could become Prime Minister.
Out of here.
Who could become Prime Minister, and he knows very well what the difficulties are coming from this sort of background. What the difficulties are in competing against those who have come from more advantageous positions.
Comment. Guardian comment section, the fucking
Oh
room.
my fucking word.
I'm from a very similar background, and more to the point, my son is also from a very similar background, and he now finds himself trying to make his way in a world where most of the people have come from much more privileged positions, and where the questions, what does your
this
father
is
do,
like-
has actually been asked of him.
This is going to be like fucking Sophia Money Coots, isn't it?
Sorry to interrupt. Whose wallet is this?
Is
Just
this
found it
West
lying on the
Streeting's
ground
mother?
here.
Is this West Streeting's mother trying to sell at least one copy of his shithouse book?
He, like Mr. Starmer, has managed to succeed through his ability, and because he is prepared to work twice as hard as those around him, but also,
Bullshit.
at times, by not talking about his background, and of course without having the advantages of help and contacts that others have. I'm sure that Keir is absolutely aware of all of this, and how much this leads to many good people not getting the opportunities they deserve, and to others getting opportunities that they did not really deserve. And if he can start to do something to change this, then I think he will be performing a huge service for the country. Comment or commentary at.
Comment in the Guardian.
Yeah, comment the Guardian. I agree.
Commentary out.
That was a top pick comment in the Guardian.
Yeah, there you go.
Which one? These two are good. While Just Stop Oil claims to represent humanity, it pays little attention to popular reactions to its protests.
Commentary.
Come on the podcast, they said. We'll get together, have a few laughs.
This isn't particularly surprising. If you genuinely believe the world was on the absolute brink of collapse, blocking a road seems like a small step in response. If an ambulance can't reach a patient in time, that's deeply sad. But the potential death of billions is an unimaginably vaster tragedy that must be averted.
Yeah, all right.
These
Good.
apocalyptic warnings provide space for something much darker to emerge.
Ooh.
How far would you go to prevent something truly terrible from happening, not just to your family, but to all of humanity? Groups with a simple black and white vision of the world are often willing to cross significant boundaries to achieve their goals. The January 6th rioters who broke into the US Congress.
Yeah.
Did you hear those screeching tires from that handbrake turn there? That was
Bang,
amazing.
zoom
Fucking go.
straight to the moon. Yeah.
I think honestly, in like the like fucking tightly wound political climate of 2023, I don't think like comparing Just Stop Oil to the January 6th people is like frankly enough to merit like any kind of like notoriety on the commentariat stage. I think you should have gone further and tried to justify 9/11, you fucking coward.
Oh, I won't finish it. That was the fucking hit of it.
Yeah,
so,
that's
what do you
great.
think?
We don't need much more than that. That's just good shit.
Comment or commentary at.
A comment? I feel like maybe comment.
No,
Okay.
I'm gonna go commentary at. It feels
Yeah.
too good.
Paul Pot in the Morning Star.
That was
Richard
Samuel
Littlejohn.
Mace in the Telegraph. Right. Yeah. Last one. For centuries, Britain has been renowned as a land of liberty.
Is this the opening Master and
wow.
Commander? Or Oceans Now Battlegrounds?
Actually, hang on just a second. Hang on. For centuries, Britain has been renowned as a land of liberty. Our nation created Magna Carta, pioneered parliamentary democracy, and conquered Nazi tyranny. But today, freedom is under attack as never before, not from a foreign force, but from the destructive woke agenda that has seized control of our public institutions and major corporations. The social justice warriors behind this revolution have no electoral mandate, but their lack of accountability does not prevent them from bullying their critics into silence. They are Orwellian in their methods. They call for tolerance, but are intolerant of dissent. They pose as the champions of progress, yet are the architects of oppression, like Big Brother in 1984 crushing rebel Winston Smith. They preach inclusion but feed division with identity politics. Left-wingers are fond of denouncing the anti-communist campaigns led by Senator Joe McCarthy in mid-1950s America. But US McCarthyism is dwarfed by today's woke culture. Censorship, witch hunts, blacklists, indoctrination, and character assassination all come easily to the ideologues, helped by corporate cowardice and the mob mentality on social media. This pattern is epitomised by the politicisation of the banking industry.
Is this Arab Bastani writing in defense of Nigel Farage?
Is that a magazine?
Commentariat, and wow.
I like that fucking bit in the middle where they were like, they say one thing, but then had this other thing. Do you know what I mean? Like they tell you that we can all have cake, but they made Neil Oliver get a vaccination. Like fucking commentariat, yeah, definitely.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it's very powerful. I like it a lot. It's quite good.
So what do you think, Rob?
I think this is commentariat. It's deranged enough. It feels like Rod Little or some shit.
It does. It really does.
Okay. That was commentariat. It was Leo McKinstry in the Express.
I was just barely off. I'm going to give myself that
Stepping-
anyway. I'm going to give myself bonus heat point.
Yeah, he's stepping his game up there. That's something.
Yeah, that was good. Okay, so I think that'll more than do us for this episode, eh? So we will have another episode out next week. We will have a bonus episode at some point this month released on Patreon. That's patreon.com/PraxisCast. You can also see us on Twitch on Wednesdays and Thursdays. That is twitch.tv/PraxisCast. Follow us on Twitter to find out when we're going to be live, because we're not very good at that bit. That's twitter.com/PraxisCast.
That's because they won't give me access to the fucking Twitter feed. I'm there every week, desperate to let the public know what's going on, and I'm just like, you know what I mean, unfairly punished.
If you want Jamie to tell you when we're going to be live, you need to manage to scam a Blue Sky invite off someone. And we're Praxis Cast and whatever other bullshit after that.
Please do note Jamie
And-
also doesn't post the times on there, so swings and roundabouts.
And also merch is available. That is praxiscast.tmail.com. We thank you very much for listening. We hope you join us in the Patreon so that you can shout abuse at us in the Discord. And we'll see you all in the next episode.
Yeah, bye.
See ya.
Bye.
It's too warm. Fuck you.
Can someone go around and mop up Rob, please?
Clean up on aisle 5, yeah.